The New England Patriots are 1-6 in the games in which Drake Maye is their starting quarterback. The rookie keeps making the grade. Who else needs to step up? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for the Patriots country. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. You can also catch me over where the skies are blue on Blue Sky at MDABATENFL.bsky.social. And of course, if you're looking to show some social media love to Locked On Patriots, please follow our X account at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, today's sponsor of our podcast. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And Pats fans, we continue to wallow in the mire of the New England Patriots' disheartening 25-24 loss to the Indianapolis Colts in Week 13 at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots seem to have victory secured, but a final drive, an 80-yard, 19-play drive by the Indianapolis Colts, ends in not only a touchdown, but a two-point conversion, which sealed the victory for Indy and ironically, mathematically sealed the fate of the New England Patriots, who are now officially eliminated from postseason play. How do the Patriots use this bye week to regroup and to move forward? Well, in order to get where you're going, you have to know where you've been. And the best way to do that, report cards. That's right, folks. Even though it's the bye week, we're not taking any days off. We are providing a Patriots grade report. And here today to do just that is the man with the grades. He is our Patriots professor. He is my Patriots paisan, columnist extraordinaire at PatsFans.com, as well as being the co-host of another amazing Patriots podcast, Patriots 4th and 2, alongside the great Derek Havens, the new proud papa himself. He is my good friend, Steve Balestrieri. Steve, welcome back to the pod. Thank you for coming to us today and sharing your grade report on this bye week for the New England Patriots.
Thanks for having me, and glad to be back. And, unfortunately, they snatched defeat right out of the jaws of victory on Sunday.
Absolutely. Well said. But bottom line, Steve, when you talk about grading this 25-24 loss to the Colts, we start on the offensive side of the ball. It's a tale as old as time. Now, folks, I'm not going to sing Beauty and the Beast. Don't worry. I'm talking about Drake Maye being the quarterback of this team, playing at a high level, just not getting the type of performance from the supporting cast around him to be able to turn these good performances into victories. I'll be the first to admit, I was skeptical of putting Drake Maye in before this team had a solid offensive line in front of it, before he had some playmakers around him, especially at the receiver position, that could help elevate his game. He's proven me wrong. This kid can go in there and elevate the players around him, and he's doing that. But you can only elevate these players so much, and that's why these types of performances are not turning into victories. So when you look at this loss to the Colts for the New England Patriots, obviously offense is not going to be graded very high, but I have a funny feeling that your opinion of Drake Maye in this game may be higher than that of his teammates at this point, Steve.
Well, I thought that obviously Drake, and we're talking about him, but some of the other positions on offense had a good day. When you roll up 422 yards of total offense, you're moving the ball. They didn't punt until 5 minutes left in the game. And, unfortunately, that was the worst time to punt, but we'll get into that as well. But, talking about Drake Maye, I thought he was terrific. And what I liked about him is in this game so much, he stayed patient. Okay. The Colts played that, zone defense, kind of like Seattle does with three, like what do they call it? Seattle 3 or whatever. That takes away the deep ball. So you have to stay patient. And he was able to do that. The short passing game, especially with the tight ends, I thought he ate them up.
Mhm.
You know, with that playing that type of defense, you have to be patient. You have to take what's there. And, the few times they did play man coverage, he was able to scramble when things broke down. He ran 5 times for 59 yards, including
Mhm.
that big 41-yard run. But overall, you look at his numbers, 24 of 30, 80%, 238 yards with a touchdown and interception. His passer rating was 96.9. The one interception, you can maybe fault him a little bit. The ball was a little bit inside you know, where it wasn't perfectly placed. But I think Hunter Henry would be the first to tell you that that's a ball he should have caught.
Mhm.
And, it could only have been caught by Henry, but unfortunately, it bounced off his hands and went straight up in the air. And when I saw that, I automatically went, oh my, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't. But overall, I thought Drake Maye was fantastic in this game. He did everything that you needed him to do. The only fault, again, and this is the entire offense, and we'll get into why, I think, the red zone was a killer for him once again, only 2 of 6. And think about that. If they had converted one more red zone possession into a touchdown, they win that game easy because the Colts would have been down by 2 scores.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I thought Drake Maye played fantastic.
I agree with you. I thought he played fantastic as well. And I dipped into this a little bit earlier this week when Murph joined me here talking about Gus Bradley, because this is a defensive coordinator I know very well. I know him from his time in Los Angeles when I covered the Chargers, and he loves zone coverage. I mean, he calls more zone coverage than any other defensive coordinator in the league. So you know that no matter what going in, you're going to see a ton of zone. And look, Indy really didn't try to mask that point. They went at Drake in zone coverage. 34 of 39 of Drake's dropbacks, like you said, were in zone coverage. Only 5 came in man-to-man coverage. Drake did a great job of dicing that up, knowing he didn't have the deep ball at his disposal. That's his strong suit. What did he need to do? He needed to attack the intermediate areas of the field. That's exactly what he did. What I'm most impressed with when I see Drake Maye, especially in a game like this, is he's making it very difficult for opposing defensive coordinators to develop a scheme that is sure to keep him on his heels, that is sure to keep him contained. The MO on Drake was he can't do much outside of throwing the deep ball when you throw zone coverage at him. He's proving now that he can carve up the middle of the field. He's proving when you do switch and you play man-to-man on him, you can't play that man-to-man coverage unless you account for the quarterback. This kid has the top-level speed to take it and take it to the house. We saw it in that 41-yard rush that he made. Evan Lazar of Patriots.com had a dynamite drop in this week on Patriots Unfiltered when he talked about next gen stats, claiming that he reached a top speed of 19.4 miles per hour. That is lightning.
It's wide receiver speed.
Absolutely. It is wide receiver speed. And in that regard, you have to account for him on every play, on every snap, because not only is he capable of elevating his teammates, he has the intrinsic talent to be able to take games over. That's how you know you've got the right guy under center and taking snaps at quarterback. Yeah, the Patriots' future is bright with Drake Maye at the helm when it comes to the quarterback position. But Steve, around him, we're once again seeing breakdowns. The wide receivers, I thought, had a very rough game. When you look at the Patriots pass catchers now, and I'll throw the tight ends into that because I thought the tight ends once again had a good game. What types of improvement do you want to see as the Patriots professor in his pass catchers around him to help elevate Drake Maye?
Well, yeah. Well, when it comes to the wide receivers, I think a lot of their struggles in the red zone are because your wide receivers are not getting the job done. I mean, the wide receivers do okay between the 20s, right? But when they get in the red zone, you look at who they're targeting. It's always the tight ends or the running backs, either with the running game or, a screen pass to the running back. But it's very rarely the wide receivers, and they're not getting any kind of separation. They're not getting open, even when plays break down. I mean, who does he go to? He goes to Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, and where would they be right now? Where would this Patriots offense be right now without Henry and Hooper? And I think, I thought those two guys had a fantastic game. We talked about that one play with Henry. I mean, those things are going to happen. Again, we said, it's a catch he normally makes. It wasn't a great throw, but, you look at Henry and Hooper. They were targeted 13 times. They made 11 catches, out of 13 targets. I think it was 117 yards and a touchdown. I mean, they're getting the job done. And you can't ask them for much more out of them.
Right.
But I think it's the wide receivers. I mean, I was charting the plays when they got in the red zone. And again, it was, all the backs and the tight ends. The wide receivers were targeted very little, and they had very little production. And I think that's really setting them back. As you said, right at the outset, he can only elevate the guys around him so far. Keishon Butte shows flashes. I mean, he came up with another nice play on Sunday, but he's not consistent. Kendrick Bourne is consistent. Pop Douglas, I know this will be very unpopular with Patriots fans, but I don't think he's consistent enough.
That's fair.
He only had 4 catches on 4 targets, and it was just for 20 yards. I mean, that's the guy that's supposed to get you your, separation right off the field and eat up the yardage after the catch. And, 4 catches for 20 yards while your quarterback is carving them up, it's not getting it done. And I know he's very popular with the fans, but, he should have a lot more production than he has. And I think there's times when he doesn't run the right routes. I think that's the big problem with Jalen Polk. He had that one target, and it seemed like he kept drifting to his right where Drake wanted him to sit, and the throw was off target. And, I heard through the grapevine that one of the reasons why Javon Baker isn't seeing the field is he just doesn't practice well at all.
Steve, before we take our leave of the offense completely, we've talked about the quarterback, we've talked about the pass catchers, talked about the running backs, but this offensive line, once again, a mixed bag on Sunday, as you eloquently put it in your grade report. The offense gained 422 yards. That's their best output of the season, and they balanced it. 200 yards on the ground, 222 through the air. So the line did an equally effective job blocking for the run and blocking for the pass. But once again, a mixed bag output. In your opinion, when you look at this offensive line, what went right, what went wrong, and how did that all factor into the final grade that you gave them this week?
Well, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you looked at it from just staring at the stat sheet, you'd think the offensive line was dominating out there. And at times, I mean, when you run for 200 yards, you're doing a pretty good job in run blocking. Your quarterback's, throwing for 238 yards while you're running for, 238 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're running for 200, that's a really good day. Right. Because you're keeping the defense on their heels. But once they got into them red areas, that's when the protection breaks down. The first time they got in the red zone, there was a sack, a 2-yard run, and a second sack, and that was a recurring problem. Like, they were moving the ball very well, but once they got at that crunch level, protection was breaking down. The running backs all of a sudden had no room to run. The runs shortened up. protection was breaking down. I mean, it was a mixed bag. I mean, I thought they graded out a little below average, C minus, because again, when you get into the red zone and you only score 2 touchdowns out of 6, something has to give there. And a lot of it was the offensive line. Again, like I told you earlier, I think it's a mixture. I think your offensive line did not play well down in that red area, and I think your wide receivers leave much to be desired down there.
Even with Drake Maye's solid effort, Steve, it results in a loss. And this is a common tale for the Patriots, far too common for the Patriots to continue and hope to be able to build on this moving into 2025. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that the Patriots' run defense, once again, showing an inability to be able to contain rushers, and it's hurting them on the stat sheet. It's also hurting them on the scoreboard. We're going to grade that Patriots defense from D-line to linebackers to secondary when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, with big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. Well, with Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabyte on unlimited plan. Additional taxes and fees and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Listen up, Locked On listeners. When it comes to daily fantasy sports, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And what I love most about Prize Picks is that it puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And when you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when downloading the app today and using the code LOCKEDONNFL. Prize Picks. Run your game. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots and joining us here today to provide his wisdom, his counsel, and most importantly, folks, his grades for the New England Patriots 25-24 loss to the Indianapolis Colts is my good friend Steve Balestrieri of PatsFans.com. Steve, in the previous segment, we talked about very high grades for Drake Maye. We talked about middle-of-the-road grades for the tight ends and the running backs, and maybe not so great grades for the wide receivers and for the offensive line. But one of the things that continues to disappoint Patriots fans is the regression we're seeing on defense, especially in the run game. The Pats defensive line allowed 144 yards on 34 carries this week. And of course, A lot of that is because of the prowess of Jonathan Taylor. But if you're a Patriots defense that's being called upon to help mitigate the problems that they're having on offense, you need to rise to the occasion and you need to step up to the challenge. Pat's defense did not do so. Starting with the defensive line, Steve, when you look at their performance, how did they grade out against the Colts? And what do you believe needs to be priority one for the Pats in improving that heading out of the bye week?
Yeah, I think, the defensive game plan this week, right, was stop the run, keep Richardson in the pocket, and force him to throw. And when you look at that, I mean, coming into the game, he had a completion percentage of under 50%. And they were supposed to pressure him into making mistakes. And all of those, with maybe other than making mistakes, they failed at. They didn't stop the run. They didn't get any kind of pressure on him, and they weren't able to keep him in the pocket. He did throw 2 interceptions, which, the Patriots had a plus turnover rate for the first time in a while. Second time, I think, in several weeks. But, they got 0 sacks. I thought Christian Barmore and Devon Godchaux didn't have a great game. I thought they got pushed around a little bit. I thought the Colts owned the line of scrimmage offensively. They didn't gain a ton of yardage. They only gained 252 yards in the game. And but most of that was on the ground. I know that Richardson only threw, it was like 109 yards or something or other, but that was because they were running. I mean, he only threw 24 passes. They did not do a good job against the run. They weren't keeping their gap integrity. They didn't get a lot of help from the linebackers in the running game. So it was just a bad day for the defensive line. I was expecting better out of them this week, especially, the last 2 games, the defense, they were going against teams that use a lot of motion. And we saw the Rams in Miami just confuse the heck out of them. And this week, the Colts don't use a lot of motion. I was expecting the defense to really step up in this, and they, once again, they can't generate any kind of a pass rush. They blitz. They're one of the top blitzing teams in the league, and they're still not getting home. This was a rough game for that defensive line.
Yeah, it definitely was. And it also led to putting a lot on the shoulders of the linebackers, who, in your estimation, played a little bit better, but not much by comparison. I mean, they did have a couple of big moments. Obviously, the Tavai tip and the Christian Ellis interception was a big moment for them. Anthony Jennings and Tavai kind of stepping up and getting the tackles when they needed to. Yannick Ngakoue is, starting to make his mark, but still, I think we need to see more from an acquisition that the Patriots, I think, had higher hopes for than what he's shown on the field so far. When it comes to the linebackers, why did they grade a C in your estimation this week?
Well, again, I thought they did fairly well in the passing game. When it comes to coverage this week, the Colts tight ends and the backs weren't huge factors in the passing game. But, and again, to vibe, tipped the pass that Ellis picked off. Jennings and Tavai each had 5 tackles. So they were fairly productive there, not as much as they normally get. But again, the running game, they were having trouble, and they haven't had trouble doing this in a while, setting the edge. Right. That propped back up again.
Right.
I thought they didn't do a great job setting the edge. And I thought the interior line and linebackers weren't doing a great job in the running game. So they were kind of average in this game, but not nearly good enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think not enough is really a common theme throughout this year for this team. And it leads me quite nicely into my final question for you, Steve, on the defense, which is the secondary. Another standout performance by Christian Gonzalez. I don't think anyone can argue that this kid needs to be in the discussion for potential Pro Bowl selection, maybe even All Pro. Around him, the supporting cast continues to struggle. Jabril Peppers back in the lineup this week for the first time in a long while, obviously making his presence felt, but you need to see him get his game legs back. Overall, this secondary, I thought, played a decent game, but we still need to see more production, especially on the perimeter, if this team is going to be the standout unit along this defense. Yeah, we need to see a little more from players not named Christian Gonzalez.
Right. And again, we didn't expect to see the communication issues, right? Because they, Colts don't run a lot of motion. But, in the first half, the Colts score a touchdown, and it was once again way too easy, right? Everyone goes to the left, and all the coverage drifts off, and the running back scoots out there, and there was nobody in the zip code, and those are the things that you get so frustrated watching because it's basic thing. I mean, somebody has to account for the running back. And they had two guys, I think Gonzalez and one of the safeties drifted off to the left covering the tight end, and nobody stayed home to watch the running back, Taylor, and he goes out and catches an easy touchdown. He walked in, and again, these are the kind of things that, if you're playing it straight up, and he beats you physically because he's faster than you to the edge, then you got to live with that. But when nobody's home, that's pretty tough,
It is.
And I don't know. It was just one of those games. Let me take that back. I think it was Gonzalez and Ellis over there, and but anyway. Jabril Peppers, he played every snap, which I was shocked, and again, he kind of looked like himself, but he's obviously rusty. He hadn't played in 8 weeks. The secondary didn't play badly. I mean, again, Richardson was just 12 of 24, 109 yards. He did throw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But again, that last drive, 19 plays, 80 yards. They had them stopped for 3 fourth downs, and they converted every one of them. And that's where your defense, it goes from bending to collapsing. And, you just can't have that. I mean, and again, at times guys are out of position.
I think it speaks volumes to what the Patriots need to do. I think every area, every position can use a degree of improvement. Now, some obviously are in better positions than others, but I think everyone that puts on a Patriots uniform can look in the mirror right now and say, you know what, the job that I'm doing, I can do better. And that's going to be the job of the coaching staff throughout this bye week, folks, because grade reports count. They absolutely are viewed and absorbed and taken to heart by the Patriots Brain Trust at One Patriots Place right now. In fact, some of those ill-fated grades are actually leading to big improvements when it comes to the Patriots, including at the facilities level. Yeah, that's right. Patriots beginning construction on a new facility that might help them when it comes to recruiting free agents. Steve and I are going to talk about the big news from Foxborough that dropped on Wednesday morning and what it means for the Patriots moving forward when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Let your New England fandom work for you by visiting FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win with your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. As our good friend and guest today, Steve Balestrieri, my Patriots Paisan, columnist extraordinaire at PatsFans.com, provides his weekly grade report. And it's not the worst grade report that you've issued, Steve, by far. Certainly not the best. But the New England Patriots were, as our people like to say, mez-a-mez against the Colts. Some bright spots, not enough to instill a whole lot of confidence heading into the last few weeks after the bye week. But one thing that I think we do know from these grade reports, Steve, is the Patriots brass, the front office, the brain trust, so to speak, does take a lot of heart into the perception of what this team is. And that's exactly what's happening in Foxborough, folks. The Patriots officially announcing on Wednesday morning their plans for a new football training facility, a 3-story facility, Steve, located near the practice fields toward the south end of the stadium. Patriots football operations department all going to be housed in this area. Coaches, players, training staff, other internal personnel going to fully upgrade what we've seen from the New England Patriots training facility. Team is targeting a spring 2026 completion date. This is definitely in reaction to the Patriots report card from the NFLPA that they put out each and every year. And Steve, we see this now for the last 2 years. The Patriots have graded very deficiently in this area. Steve, before we talk about what this means for the Patriots going forward, what was your reaction to the announcement that this construction was going to begin? And what do you think it means for the Patriots in the short term?
Well, I think it's long overdue, right? I mean, we've seen these reports the last couple of years, and, I'll give credit to the ownership group. They obviously have been working behind the scenes on this for a while. As you said, offline, when we were talking before the show started, you could see, the clearing of the land as early as this summer. So, this plan has been in the works, and, they're starting construction on it. And I think it's fantastic. They're going to have a much bigger weight facility, bigger, more effective training rooms. They'll have, areas for bigger areas for team meetings and virtual reality stuff that they're already using. And hopefully, one of the things that popped up in the report was they didn't have a nursery or daycare facility for family members on game days. And, it sounds like a minor thing, but that's a big thing for families.
It's huge.
When they have young kids and the wives want to come to the games, they're able to just bring the kids right into the stadium, drop them off. And then afterwards, the players and their wives and their kids can all go home together. I mean, I think that's fantastic. It's this whole thing. I saw the plans of it. It looks like it's going to be right behind where the practice fields are now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's a great location.
Yeah, the south side. Yep.
And they have plenty of room. I mean, they have oodles of room back there. You could build 5 of them things with all the land Robert Kraft had. But, to me, I thought this was a very good, if overdue, move. Maybe they weren't aware that the players felt this badly about the facilities until, last year and this year when the reports came out. But now, they're acting on it. And I think that's a great idea. And from the looks of it, it's going to be a first class, facility. And like you said, it's going to help in recruiting free agents to come here, because now you're going to be, the facility is going to be first class, right, and top of the line.
Very well said in all aspects. Look, bottom line, folks, when you look at Gillette Stadium, Back when it opened, it was state of the art and one of the finer facilities that you'll find anywhere in the National Football League. I think the Crafts took a lot of pride in that. But also, you have to remember that in 20 years, a lot is going to be outdated. And even if you make minor modifications, you're still not equaling what these other mega stadiums are doing. The players see that. They know that. They know what's out there because of their visits to these opposing stadiums. They come back home to Foxborough, and it's just not as inviting. So this is a long time overdue for the New England Patriots. I think it's a smart time to do it. Obviously, the NFLPA grades factored heavily into their decision to do it. And only time will tell whether or not the New England Patriots upgrades to their facility, or at least their intentions to upgrade their facilities, will have an impact on the Patriots when it comes to free agency, when it comes to enthusiasm in the draft, and when it comes to the morale of their own players, the guys in their locker room right now that know that the Pats are making the commitment to making the facilities and making their work-life balance around them much easier and much better. So kudos to the Pats Brain Trust and their organization for doing this. It really looks like a very nice facility. Steve, can't wait for you to come with me and tour this place and see what it's like in 2026. That's going to be a lot of fun when it's finally completed. But bottom line, folks, what it shows you is grades count. Evaluation counts. And the evaluation that I think my friend provides here each and every week when it comes to the Patriots' performance should be a motivational factor for this bye week when it comes to the Patriots leading into now going to be their Week 15 matchup with the Arizona Cardinals coming up in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, my friend, thank you so much for coming today, to lending your wisdom, your counsel, and most importantly, that grade report. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got marinating in La Cucina Balestrieri between now and when the Patriots take the field once again to prepare for their matchup with the Cards.
Thank you once again for having me. And if I can give one plug to a head coach who's also a very, very good friend, my buddy Chris McMahon out of Grafton, Mass. He's been the head coach there for 11 years. He's stepping down. What a great program he ran there. I started covering him in his first year, and he was a fantastic guy. We went from coach-media relationship to a friend relationship, and super guy, cares about the kids, not just on the football field, but off. They're going to miss him there. So thanks for letting me plug my buddy there.
Oh, of course.
But you can find me on Twitter or X at SteveB7SFG. I write for PatsFans.com. I'm probably going to do some more military writing in the near future. So I just got a call today on that. But yeah, Derek and I do that podcast every week, and we're looking forward to having you on again as a guest with both of us there. So, let's do that soon. This week, we're just looking at where the team lies. And it was funny because I was going to write, I already started writing about, personnel-wise where the team is. And I was going to mention at the end that they need to upgrade the facilities. So, they must have been putting a bug in my ear.
Oh, they're smart, Steve. They're listening to your grade report each and every week. And again, if they're not, they should be, because it is the best grade report in Patriots media each and every week, as far as I'm concerned, folks. That's why we are glad and humbled and honored that he chooses Locked On Patriots to come here and to lend his grade report in addition to what you do and the great work that you and Derek do on Patriots 4th and 2. In the meantime, my friend, we appreciate all of the contributions you make here to Locked On Patriots. And of course, folks, we appreciate each and every one of you that take the time out to make Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Stay tuned, folks, because we are not done with the bye week yet. Special guests coming up, and of course, a special crossover coming up on Thursday. Even though it's the bye, you're not going to want to miss this one. So stay tuned and stay locked in to Locked On Patriots. On behalf of my good friend Steve Balestrieri, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.